Hey everyone, I'm super excited to be racing in Montreal this coming weekend, and I thought I'd take the chance to look at one of the most dramatic moments of the last time I was here, way back in 2006, with Pro Mazda. I also want to apologize for the video quality. Remember, this is back in 2006, when HD was just sort of emerging, and it was really only at the time available to major studios and major productions. So to give you guys some context, this was my first season in Pro Mazda, after 2 years in the Skip Barber Regional Series, which I won in the Eastern region in 2005. Montreal was round 5 of this championship, and I was still getting acclimatized to the higher level of competition in this series. I hadn't really done anything anywhere near this level in karting or in cars before that. Since we were running with Formula 1, there was not a lot of track time for us on the weekend schedule, and we didn't even have qualifying. I think we just had one practice session and the race. So they formed the grid based on championship points, and of course I was spending that season still getting up to speed, so that's why I'm starting way in the back in, I think, 23rd spot. So coming out of turn 4, I get a glimpse of a yellow flag waving on the left. I know that the next corner, turn 5, is easy flat out, and it's likely that everybody made it through without drama. And I also know that the leaders would probably be in turn 6 at this point, which is a tight left-hander and definitely a place where they could get tangled up trying to pass each other. So my initial thought when I saw that yellow waving flag was that there was an incident in turn 6. I could continue to flat out around turn 5, and by the time I get to turn 6, all the cars involved would either be stuck in the gravel or would have gathered themselves up and carried on. So a split second later, instinct kicked in or something, and I started thinking to myself, well, you know, maybe it's more serious than that. Maybe you should slow down. And if you watch it at full speed, you can actually hear the engine note dip a little bit when I make that decision and start to ease off the throttle. And then coming around turn 5, it feels like I'm just staring straight into the gates of hell. Cars are spinning and flying everywhere in front of a background of just blackness. I couldn't see anything through the mess. So I slam on the brakes as hard as I can without locking up, and I quickly calculate that I'm not slowing down fast enough to stop before I get caught up in the mess myself. So I immediately start looking for a way through. I see a car sideways in the middle of the track spinning, so I can't go there. I see a car facing me on the right, so that area is blocked. And I don't see a car on the left, but I also don't see a definitive hole either. It's just pitch black. But it's the only chance I have, so that's what I take. And by the way, that piece of suspension that lands in front of my car, I never saw it. When I rolled into the pits, my mechanic asked me how I got a hole in my front shock cover, and I had absolutely no idea until I saw the video. In the aftermath, they stopped the race for 20 minutes to clean up. 15 cars had been eliminated by the accident, and 2 people went to the hospital, with 1 staying overnight, just as a precaution. Despite that, fortunately, there were no serious injuries, and I ended up finishing the race in 8th place, so I went from 23rd to 8th. It was my first top 10 of my career in this championship, and the only damage that I sustained, I think I bent one of the front suspension arms, because for the rest of the race, my steering wheel was slightly off-center, but other than that, the car was fine. And as I mentioned in the intro, this weekend will be my first time back at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve since this accident. I think the track will suit the Formula 1600 cars really well. There's a lot of hard braking zones, which will be great for passing, and there's plenty of good drafting opportunities into the chicane along the back straight, into turn 1, and I think there's a lot of places on the track that Formula 1 cars can't pass at, but we can. And I'll have onboard video from those races next week, as always. So if you haven't subscribed already, be sure to do so, so you can notify when they go up. And if anyone's going to be in Montreal for the F1 race, feel free to stop by the Formula Tour paddock and say hello. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next week.